The Bloody Palm Print, Unmasking the Killer of Lawrence Cowan. Welcome, true crime enthusiasts, to Ontario Cold Cases, Canada's true crime podcast. I'm Jay Nickel of Nickel Investigations. Today, we're taking you back in time to a quiet, close-knit community in eastern Ontario, a place where a shocking act of violence shattered the peace and left a mystery that has lingered for nearly 5 decades. Our story begins in Smiths Falls, Ontario, on a late summer evening in 1976. Ontario Cold Cases, Canada's true crime podcast. It's a gripping true crime podcast uncovering unsolved murders, disappearances, and forgotten crimes from Ontario and beyond, told with deep research, compelling storytelling, and a voice for the victims. Join us today, where every clue could lead to answers, and every case deserves a second look. A quiet town's unsolved tragedy. Smiths Falls, Ontario, September 1976. Smiths Falls in the mid-1970s was like many small Canadian towns, a place where neighbors knew neighbors and the rhythm of life was slow and predictable. It was a town where local businesses thrived, often becoming cornerstones of daily life, gathering places where people exchanged greetings and caught up on the day's news. The air might have carried the scent of late summer flowers, perhaps a faint hum of distant traffic, or the laughter of children playing. Life moved at a different pace then, one that fostered a deep sense of community and security. But on September 3rd, 1976, that tranquility was brutally interrupted. The date is etched into the town's history as the day a beloved local businessman, Lawrence Cowan, was senselessly murdered, forever altering the town's perception of its own safety. Introducing Lawrence Cowan and Cowan's Dairy Bar. Lawrence Cowan wasn't just any businessman. He was the heart and soul of Cowan's Dairy Bar, a true Smiths Falls institution. This wasn't just a convenience store. It was a landmark, a place woven in the fabric of generations of Smiths Falls residents. Its history stretched back to 1909, when Brock and Angeline Cowan, Lawrence's family, first started as a door-to-door dairy, delivering fresh milk directly to homes. By the 1950s, it had expanded significantly, transforming into a vibrant hub that included a popular ice cream parlor, a retail store offering everyday necessities, and a place where locals would often stop for a treat or a chat. Lawrence himself dedicated his entire adult life to this family business, pouring his energy and passion into serving both the Smiths Falls community and nearby Brockville. He was more than just an owner. He was a familiar, friendly face behind the counter, known for his dedication and warm demeanor. He was a devoted family man, married to Muriel Chamberlain since 1957, and together they raised 3 children, Brock, Lori, and Greg. His life was deeply intertwined with the fabric of this community, built on hard work, family values, and a commitment to his customers. The fateful night, September 3rd, 1976, the armed robbery and murder. But on that fateful night, Lawrence Cowan's life was tragically cut short, and the perpetrator vanished into the shadows, leaving behind a profound mystery that has haunted the town for decades. To this day, the murder of Lawrence Cowan remains unsolved. It's a cold case, leaving a community and a family still seeking answers, still holding on to the hope that one day the truth will emerge. So let's rewind to the evening of September 3rd, 1976. As the sun began its descent over Smiths Falls, painting the sky with the hues of a late summer evening, a masked armed robber burst into Cowan's Dairy Bar. The sudden intrusion shattered the ordinary calm of the evening. What happened next unfolded quickly and brutally a terrifying sequence of events that would forever mark the small store. During the course of this robbery, Lawrence Cowan, the owner, was shot and killed by the assailant, a violent act that left a beloved figure lifeless on the floor of his own business. The crime scene, a bloody clue and the elusive killer. The critical piece of evidence, a bloody palm print. The immediate aftermath of this horrific crime was discovered by a young man whose life would be forever changed by the chilling scene. Tim Nadeau was just 15 years old at the time, a teenager working a shift at Cowan's Dairy Bar that evening, likely anticipating the end of his workday. Imagine the scene. Young unsuspecting employee going about his duties, only to stumble upon a nightmare. Tim found Mr. Cowan on the floor, directly in front of the cash register, having been shot. The trauma of that discovery has stayed with Tim Nadeau for decades, a burden he has carried through his adult life. He told reporters that even now, the image of what he saw that night remains seared into his memory, a vivid and painful recollection that time has not dulled. The gruesome crime scene. His description of the crime scene paints a chilling picture of the violence that occurred, conveying the sheer brutality of the attack. Tim recounted, and I quote, "The door was covered in blood, the magazine rack was covered in blood, and the ceiling was covered in blood." These visceral details speak volumes about the ferocity of the assault, leaving no doubt as to the horror that unfolded within those walls. The amount of blood described suggests a violent struggle or close-range shooting, underscoring the tragic final moments of Lawrence Cowan's life. As quickly as masked armed robber appeared, they vanished, melting into the night, leaving Smith Falls reeling and the police with a daunting task. The community was gripped by fear and disbelief. In the immediate aftermath, investigators focused on one critical piece of evidence left behind by the perpetrator, a bloody palm print found in the inside of a door frame. This print became the solitary, real clue police had to work with, a tangible link to the assailant in a case otherwise devoid of clear leads. In 1976, without the advanced forensic capabilities we have today, like widespread DNA analysis or comprehensive, interconnected databases that can cross-reference millions of prints in moments, a single palm print, without a known suspect to compare it against, was an incredibly challenging lead. It was a potential breakthrough, yet also a frustrating dead end without a match. It became the linchpin of this cold case, and its uniqueness explains in part why the case has remained unsolved for so long, a silent testament to the limitations of forensic science at the time. The perpetrator's escape. Despite this crucial piece of evidence, the masked assailant successfully evaded capture that night. The initial investigation, though thorough for its time, hit a wall. Lawrence Cowan's family and the entire Smith Falls community were left without immediate answers, without justice, marking the beginning of a decades-long wait for resolution, a wait that continues to this very day. Up next, the investigation. The investigation. Decades of unanswered questions, initial challenges, and cold case status. The murder of Lawrence Cowan presented immense challenges from the very beginning, and tragically, the case quickly went cold. It's a designation it retains to this day, a painful reminder of justice deferred. You won't find Lawrence Cowan's name on any list of solved cases or individuals sentenced for this crime. For nearly 50 years, the enduring lack of resolution speaks to the inherent difficulties of cold case investigations, especially from an era before modern forensic science truly came into its own, when the tools available to investigators were far less sophisticated than they are today. Hopes for modern forensic tools. the palm print database. However, despite the substantial passage of time, new hope has emerged. In 2013, police expressed significant optimism with advancements in forensic technology, specifically in the realms of biometrics. The RCMP, Canada's National Police Force, announced plans to significantly expand its national fingerprint database to include palm prints. This was a monumental development and a game changer for the Cowan investigation, given that the bloody palm print was the only real clue left at the crime scene. Tim Nadeau, the young man who discovered Lawrence Cowan's body, articulated the profound hope surrounding this technological leap, voicing the sentiments of many who had waited so long for answers. He stated he was praying for a break and felt confident that if police run the palm print through the new database, they'll find a match. This hope was not unfounded. The expansion of these databases at the Automated Fingerprint Identification Systems, or AFIS, has truly revolutionized cold case potential. These systems allow for rapid comparison of unknown prints from crime scenes against vast collections of prints from arrested individuals and other sources. The Toronto Police Service, for example, noted that approximately 30% of crime scene prints are palms, making the inclusion of palm prints in these databases incredibly valuable. And now, these crime scene prints are automatically compared to every new set of arrestee prints entered into the system, creating a constantly evolving net. This systematic comparison, enabled by technological evolution, is a powerful catalyst for reactivating and potentially solving cold cases that were once stalled due to lack of comparative data. Shared optimism between law enforcement and those directly affected by the crime, like Tim Nadeau, highlights the deep, ongoing desire for justice and closure, fueled by the promise of modern forensics. The ongoing search for answers by law enforcement. The Lawrence Cowan murder, like many historical homicides, is not forgotten by law enforcement. Agencies such as the Ontario Provincial Police, or OPP, maintain a steadfast commitment to unsolved cases. Their criminal investigation branch explicitly states that without the public's assistance, many of these cases could remain unsolved, actively encouraging individuals with information, no matter how seemingly small, to come forward. The Toronto Police Service echoes this sentiment, emphasizing that a case is never closed until the verdict is being determined in court. A powerful message that these cases are not simply filed away, but remain active pursuits of justice. We've seen breakthroughs in other historical cases that offer a beacon of hope. Consider the Nation River Lady cold case from 1975, a mystery that baffled investigators for decades. This case was cracked years later through the innovative use of DNA testing and genetic genealogy, leading not only to the identification of the victim, but also to a murder charge. This success story provides a tangible illustration of how persistent police efforts, combined with evolving forensic science and crucial public engagement, can lead to breakthroughs in even the coldest of cold cases. It reinforces the idea that these are not merely historical records, but active investigations that can still benefit from new information, new technology, and renewed public interest, no matter how seemingly insignificant a detail might appear. Lawrence Cowan and Cowan's Dairy Bar, a community's memory. Lawrence Cowan's family life. Beyond the crime itself, it's important to remember the man at the center of this tragedy, Lawrence Cowan. He was a man deeply rooted in his family and community, a pillar of the Smiths Falls landscape. His murder had profound and lasting consequences for his loved ones, irrevocably altering the course of their lives. After Lawrence's death, his wife Muriel and their children were forced to move from Smiths Falls back to Brockville, a tangible and heartbreaking consequence of the tragedy that disrupted their lives and forced them to relocate from the town they had called home. This detail about his family underscores the enduring suffering that unsolved crimes inflict on surviving loved ones, emphasizing the human cost beyond the immediate act of violence. The ripple effect of such a crime extends far beyond the initial incident, impacting generations. The enduring legacy of Cowan's Dairy Bar. And Cowan's Dairy Bar was more than just a business. It was a significant part of Smiths Falls' history and a cherished community fixture. While the dairy operations were eventually sold off, a common evolution for many small independent dairies, the establishment continued to operate as a convenience store and ice cream shop, maintaining its local presence, serving the community, albeit under new ownership. Today, the current owners who took over in January 2023 have consciously chosen to honor the establishment's storied past and Lawrence Cowan's legacy. They maintain the family-run nature of the business, fostering a sense of continuity and tradition. Furthermore, they've created a small historical display within the store, featuring pictures and artifacts from the Cowans family era, poignant tribute to the store's origins and the man who dedicated his life to it. This dedication to preserving the history demonstrates how deeply rooted the Cowan family and their enterprise were in the community, and how their story remains a vital part of Smiths Falls' identity. The murder, therefore, is not an isolated incident, but a tragic event that impacted a significant local institution, leaving a permanent mark in its history and the collective memory of Smiths Falls. The continued operation of Cowan's Dairy Bar, with its nod to the past, serves as a daily reminder of a family's legacy and the unsolved crime that touched it, a silent testament to the enduring impact of that fateful night. Up next, a call for justice. A call for justice, the lingering shadow of an unsolved crime. The murder of Lawrence Cowan in Smiths Falls on September 3, 1976, remains a stark reminder of violent crime that has never been resolved, a wound in the heart of a community that has never fully healed. For nearly 5 decades, the identity of the masked armed robber who took Lawrence Cowan's life has eluded capture, leaving his family and the community of Smiths Falls with a lingering shadow of unanswered questions and unfulfilled justice. The passage of time has not diminished the desire for answers, only deepened the mystery. The importance of public memory and new leads. Despite the substantial passage of time, the hope of resolution in the Lawrence Cowan case persists. The advent of advanced forensic technologies, particularly the expansion of palm print databases, offers a renewed and a significant opportunity to re-examine that crucial bloody palm print left at the scene. This technological progress means that evidence once considered a dead end, a frustrating piece of the puzzle that couldn't be matched, can now be re-evaluated against a continually growing pool of data, potentially yielding a match that was previously impossible. This is the promise of modern forensics, to breathe new life into cold cases. But as law enforcement agencies consistently emphasize, technology alone is often not enough to crack these complex historical cases. Public assistance remains vitally important in solving cold cases. The re-examination of old evidence, combined with new tips or recollections from the public, no matter how distant or seemingly insignificant, can provide the missing pieces needed to bring a perpetrator to justice. A single phone call, a forgotten memory, a piece of an overheard conversation. Any of these could be the key. Unanswered questions. The unanswered questions continue to echo through the years, a constant refrain for those who remember Lawrence Cowan and the tragedy that befell him. Who was the masked armed robber who fatally shot Lawrence Cowan on September 3, 1976, forever changing the lives of his family and the community? What became the individual who left that bloody palm print? the only real clue at the crime scene, and how has that person lived with the knowledge of their actions? Could the expansion of forensic databases finally lead to a match for this crucial piece of evidence, bringing a name and a face to the perpetrator? Does anyone in Smiths Falls or beyond hold information, however seemingly insignificant, that could provide the breakthrough needed to solve this decades-old crime and finally bring peace to the Cowan family? The pursuit of these answers continues, driven by the unwavering hope that one day justice will be served for Lawrence Cowan and his family, and that the long-standing mystery of Smiths Falls will finally be solved. If you have any information, no matter how small or insignificant it may seem, regarding the murder of Lawrence Cowan, please contact the Ontario Provincial Police or Crime Stoppers. Your tip could be the one that finally brings closure to this enduring cold case. Thank you for joining us on Ontario Cold Cases. Join us next time as we delve into another unsolved mystery from Canada's past. Because every case deserves answers, and every victim deserves justice. Subscribe now to Ontario Cold Cases, Canada's True Crime Podcast. Episodes available wherever you get your podcasts.